Welcome, my friends. What I'm about to release to you today is what I believe is the most terrifying confirmation I've ever had to put out, that a red dwarf sun is indeed heading our way. This info I'm about to pass on to you all does not come from a website, but from the power structure that runs the United States of America. This info was sent to me by Eric Briggs, allegedly a former investigator to Senator Jim Davis, and according to Eric Briggs, this info allegedly originates from Senator Jim Davis's sister and personal assistant. Okay, into this full email that originates from Eric Briggs that will blow your minds wide open. Email titled Re Senator Davis, timeline Monday, January the 13th, 2014. At 11:01 p.m. Hello, my name is Eric Briggs. I did investigation work for Senator Jim Davis. After learning my friend of 20 years has Alzheimer's, and my work became part of a medical marijuana bill in 2012. Then I found my son was going to be taught his core curriculum and opposed that. My work on this got the legislature to unanimously reject the core, only to have the state superintendent push it through with the Fed anyways. My investigation of her became a state attorney investigation. I had previously moved my son and I out of Los Angeles the year before due to the fact I had noticed the stars were bouncing about 20 degrees in a night at Rice Point for about 20 degrees, then returning to start point north and south in about a week. I recognize this as our planet tipping because the constellations are supposed to move only about 1 degree a day in a process over a year going through the entire zodiac. Well, after having my work met with such good reviews, I decided at this point I think Davis and his sister are familiar with my in-depth research and felt confidence to approach them on this earth-tipping idea I had. Well, about halfway through my presentation, Jim Davis's sister, his personal assistant, stopped me and informed me specifically. We are familiar with the G1.9 red dwarf sun. Best case scenario, we expect 3/4 of the planet to perish in this event of passing. In short, the FEMA camps, coffins, furnaces, indefinite detention, martial law, UN troops, joint force troops like Russia and China are all for cleanup after this event. They are expecting it to pass very close by our sun. They expect this spin our Earth is on to come to a stop fairly abruptly, causing surges in the tide worldwide. Due to both motions of tip and spin, it has already begun to occur in places all over the world. Jakarta, capital of Indonesia, is 40 meters under the ocean in spots. Fukushima quake and subsequent uptick since 2010 of 300%. The phenomenal sinkhole phenomena, the loud noises, all connected to this magnetic battle over Earth. If this passage is too close, we will be threading the needle between a sun, 4 planets and 7 moons, and the sun will be burning much colder than ours. This will produce much iron oxide and iridium, and debris being from grain of sands to 70-pound iron rocks. Coronal ejections reaching deck, scorching earth in fire and radiation. At the same time, most likely Northern Hemisphere, Europe and US mainland. The North Atlantic Trench, the most likely grip point of the sun as it passes, will hold us still in space for a couple of days before releasing and possibly flipping this planet at the speed of magnetism. This would of course remove the sea from its basin, rip fault lines and shake the entire planet. The shaking will not be tectonic, more like the game you used to play as a child with a button between 2 strings. Pull the strings, the button spins. Pull the strings very tight, it will shake, vibrate. The water will be poisoned on much of the planet. The sky is full of dust that may take decades to settle. Fully expect every volcano that has gone off in the last 300,000 years to also erupt, adding to the dust layers, making an ice age very possible also. This followed with me begging them to disclose. She responded, "We are putting out disaster prep commercials. I responded, "You have made prepper a dirty word." She said the counties are also preparing for this. I informed her she lives in the Bible Belt, and when people find out she and her brother knew, they will hang you from the street poles. She responded, "I will be in my bunker." It escalated from that point with things I much rather not repeat. But know this, since that day I have been on this computer yelling everyone, look at the moon, flipping 180s in the sky, nightly wax to wane, is no joke in 12 hours. And so far have met a few folks having been looking for answers, but I don't even know how to take a screenshot, let alone make a video. I do know what I've been told and swear to it. I've even boldly tied my name to a specific senator and bills and actions of this state directly influenced by my investigating, as nothing more than a concerned citizen that once took pride in serving in the US Navy, helmsman of the USS Texas from 88 to 89, from Bering Sea to south of the equator and almost all points in between. I'm proud to be able to continue to serve my civic duty as a concerned parent through my volunteer work for this state of North Carolina. I firmly believe if more citizens exercise their civic duty, our country would never have gotten to this point of deception, greed and power-mongering it has become. Now she very specifically said to me, this projected outcome will happen before spring of 2014, which correlates with my personal nightly observations. These are as follows. In short, what's the apogee of the moon from night to night? The moon is never supposed to be more than 5.1 to 5.8 degrees off the ecliptic. It is also a southern star field as well, the sun moving east to west. The apogee is varying well over any limit of the thousands of years of observations. As well, the angular shift of the moon and phase due to field rotation. These formulas are based on 4,000 years of steady, nothing changing about the moon. We set time itself to the phase well before it began to flip 180s a night. This following link, calgary.rasc.ca/field rotation.htm. Here is just one to help us figure for our latitude the angular shift. Well, throw this away if it is normal for all latitudes to see 180 due to field rotation. The only way to make this happen is to tilt this planet on axis. All motion of the moon in Earth's. The moon only moves 6.21 degrees in its orbit each 12 hours in the same direction as Earth's spin. It may as well be sitting still. All of the lunar rotation you see, extra from the charts here, is Earth tipping on axis 150 degrees discrepancy for northern folk in Philly, etc. Not to mention the fact for the last 2 nights the moon has set almost due north, tracked live on Facebook by many across the world in real time. For me, I account the fact I noted this rocking in 2010. Fukushima really began the world events rolling with the change in earthquake scale. The repositioning of GPS was more like a reprogramming of the GPS to try to keep up with this as it escalates, becoming harder to do. As we see planes crashing into tarmac, no warning as an indicator, trains derailing, semis turning over on straight runs, OG highway are all indicators of the wobbling effect, as it is not smooth but yet less rough than one would expect. There are lights in the night sky that appear from time to time as big objects depending on our tilt. They are always visible now, though as moonlight over the horizon when there is no moon or no sun, due for hours last week, observed all week by many again in real time. These lights vary from all around this horizon, east, west, south and north, so they are definitely moving positions around, not mistaken city lights, as I for one live in western NC, about 15 miles from Cherokee, which is not the light in my north, which there is nothing but smoky Mount Forest for hundreds of miles, and to the east Asheville 50 miles away. I have yet to see source, but know quite a few that have, including my son's grandmother above Philae. Mum said, however, the light at night can clearly be seen, even if you can't see the almost moon-sized red sun every night. Its light is there. The stars also are no longer rotating so smoothly. The Big Dipper at sunset has been almost due north since last fall. It is also moving northwest for a couple of hours, well against the grain of normal rotation being west to east in the northern field. The Inuit Indians are also having trouble star navigating to find their way home from hunting and cannot travel at night anymore. I can no longer stand on my porch and point at you and you're either. My only solution to this is telling folks to bottle water and prepare as best they can. Get away from the ocean, 500 miles minimum. Now, I contacted the Haywood County Sheriff's Office about 6 months ago to confirm they are preparing. After bouncing me to and fro, I came in contact with it, in charge of disaster prep. He was reluctant at first to talk, so I obliged by continuing to speak. After about 3 minutes, he decided apparently I knew more than he was told and began telling me of bunkers full of meals and the deputies travelling 40 miles to get pallets of water from Costco. I informed him his watershed would not be thereafter and suggested they fill 2,000-gallon containers instead. The disaster prep specialist at Haywood County told me, wow, that's a great idea. Lots of laugh. I wonder why he didn't think of that. So at least interior North Carolina counties are preparing. I haven't a clue as far as anyone else, as I'm a self-employed full custody dad of a homeschool 9-year-old D. I haven't the time to worry about other states, truly. So there you have it, total confirmation from the very top of the United States power structure, the US Senate. The proof are elected officials who you put your trust in. Once elected, turn their backs on the people who elected them to high office by preparing their own survival while ignoring to inform the people of this coming catastrophic event. This is pure evil and total genocide. I'm about to pass on to you all does not come from a website, but from the power structure that runs the United States of America. This info was sent to me by Eric Briggs, allegedly a former investigator to Senator Jim Davis, and according to Eric Briggs, this info allegedly originates from Senator Jim Davis's sister and personal assistant. Welcome, my friends. What I'm about to release to you today is what I believe is the most terrifying confirmation I've ever had to put out, that a red dwarf sun is indeed heading our way. This info has Alzheimer's, and my work became part of a medical marijuana bill in 2012. Then I found my son was going to be taught his core curriculum and opposed that. My work on this got the legislature to unanimously reject the core, only to have the state superintendent push it through with the Fed anyways. My investigation into this full email that originates from Eric Briggs that will blow your minds wide open. Email titled Re Senator Davis. Timeline Monday, January the 13th, 2014 at 11:01 p.m. Hello, my name is Eric Briggs. I did investigation work for Senator Jim Davis. After learning my friend of 20 years